All right, welcome back to the Pac 9 show, where this week the saddest fan base is our fan base, unfortunately, because
No.
we messed up. We messed up and totally missed an entire week due to technical trouble.
Yeah.
And I will say, on behalf of both of us, that we are very sorry that we missed last week, but we are
Yeah.
all good now and should be able to just steam forward for the rest of the season.
Right. So hopefully stay tuned for some good little football analysis.
The analysis has not gone down. We were still analyzing all through last week. Don't worry.
Very scrutinies. Oh
Yeah.
wait, that's not a word.
The scrutineers over here. All
Yeah,
right,
something like
so
that.
let's get into the week 12 recap. Let's start with the San Francisco 49ers versus the New
Hey
Orleans Saints,
yo, let's
shutting them
go.
out 13-0. Walk us through
Woo!
this catastrophe for the Saints, Alex.
Man, and I will give the Saints some props. They have a great defense. I forgot they had Tyron Matthew and Cameron Jordan. That defense is legit. It's just unfortunate their offense had to go against the Niners defense, arguably the best defense right now. Um, Olave also looks like a great player, but him and Kamara weren't enough. Kamara with two crazy fumbles where both times they got punched out
Yeah.
by Fred Warner punched out the first one that was so dope, and then Hafunga got the second one on a goal line
Hafungo.
stand. Right, this dude is killing it. His jersey sales it must
He's
be
the
through
best,
the
man.
roof, and
Six
he
solo tackles.
yeah, he's so solid, man. And it was crazy because that second Kamara fumble, it looked like the Saints were gonna score a touchdown and ruin our shutout streak, right? And so, but somehow they found a way to knock the ball out and we got it back. It was insane. Overall, it was a pretty good game. Obviously, the defense is outstanding for the Niners. The offense, is still kind of getting going. Now, I wouldn't take too much into saying that Kyle Shanahan isn't a good play caller, Jimmy G sucks, or whatever it is, because that Saints defense was for real. I can't believe I slept on them this long. I didn't even know. They are a great defense, and so I think we did have some series where we should have scored touchdowns, but we came out with field goals, so that was a little disappointing. I think we're still kind of getting used to things on offense and trying to find a rhythm and get a good little flow play calling wise. But
Mhm.
we got the defense to kind of handle things if we need to, and let
Yeah,
it be
definitely.
known. Let it be known real quick. Eric Armstead is on his way back. We don't even have
There
Armstead
we
yet.
go.
We're gonna get him back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it definitely seems like no team has been able to figure out the San Francisco Niners defense yet. They just have
Mm-hmm.
been coming out. Like, it's definitely one of the scariest defenses to look at this year. Whereas on the flip side, it kind of sucks because now you lost Elijah Mitchell. Uh,
Yeah.
Debo Samuel seems to go out once per game somehow. Um,
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey still looks like he looks like he's Christian McCaffrey. He's still, but maybe still kind of learning the system still. I mean,
Yeah.
11 carries for 32 yards is not great. Um, and but man, New Orleans. I mean, Alvin Kamara goes out in the game
Mm-hmm.
with an injury. Andy Dalton looking like Andy Dalton with a QBR of 52, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, they just didn't really seem to have any solutions for what to do against your defense, and that's kind of what it looked like in this game. Just a low-scoring 13-0 game. And yeah, we were both laughing at the scoring drive too. The scoring recap is literally just field goal right at the beginning of the first quarter, right at the end of the second quarter, it's a touchdown, and then a field goal at the beginning of the third quarter, and that's it.
And
That's
then
the whole
that's
game.
it. Yeah, it was, and you know what the teams were doing at first is because our defense revolves around Nick Bosa. Honestly, if there's defensive MVP or anything, he should be in the conversation. But our pass rush, is definitely the main part of the defense. So typically, teams will run screens to kind of bait the rush, and then just get a nice little screen to the receiver or running back. But now the Niners are getting good at guarding that too. So now if you try to do that, they're ready for that. So it's like, people are gonna have to find answers, and it's not looking too easy. So I'm a Niners fan. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
So
you know what kind of killed the Saints too in this game is so you guys came out and you wasted a bunch of time on the clock with a 9 play 47-yard drive that ended in a field goal. And then
mhm.
the Saints wasted so much time going 12 plays 45 yards and then missed the field goal. You
Oh
guys didn't even have
yeah,
to do anything after that. Your next two drives were just 3 and outs. But
yeah,
just straight couldn't do anything.
yeah. It
They
was
just beat
tough,
themselves.
and that was funny when they missed too. I was like, yes, let's go. We didn't give it
Yeah.
up. So that was good. So overall, great game, especially defensively. Offense still has some kinks to work out, I feel like, but we're only gonna get better. So
Well,
should be
unless
a,
you don't have Elijah Mitchell anymore, so that might not be
oh,
true.
that's right. So our running backs are a little thin right now. So we will
Yeah.
have to kind of
Especially
see
if,
about that.
McCaffrey is kind of you never know when he's going to get injured and be out for the rest of the season. So
Right,
it could be
right.
yeah, it could be
So
dicey.
so we'll have to see. So going to the Packers side of things, we had Packers on Sunday night playing against the Red Hot Eagles, and it actually was a really good game. And Rodgers gets injured, and Jordan Love comes in, and they still are kind of in the game, right? So what? Walk us through that game. What was going on in there?
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because I thought we played well both in the Titans and the Eagles, and really, we put down 33 points, which is the highest score that we had all season.
Did not expect
Um,
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm kind of glad we missed last week because I would have gotten all the predictions wrong in this game. That's for sure. Especially just coming out immediately with them just easily driving up the field, getting a touchdown.
hmm
Then we immediately throw an interception, and 3 plays later they're up 14 or no 13-0 because they missed the extra point. But then we just stomped back. At one point it was 14-13, and we just
hmm
kept it close the whole time. Uh, we were running the ball really well. And I gotta give a shout out though to Keyshawn Nixon, our returner. That guy.
Oh.
First of all, we got rid of Amari Rogers, right? Which
Oh yeah,
finally,
yeah,
that
yeah. I
guy
remember
just always drops it and
that.
kind of sucks to the returner.
Yeah.
And then Nixon steps in, man. He has 5 returns, 172 yards with a
Woo.
long of 53, man. Like the dude was just on fire. It was awesome to see. I can't wait to just like have this guy forever now because it
Right.
is so good. But really, our defense just could not stand up against this Eagles offense, man. You got to give it to Jalen Hurts, but really, their offensive line was insane. The
Mm-hmm.
packages that they did against us, we just couldn't do anything. They would open
Yeah.
up holes left and right. It was so it was obvious what they were doing, but we still couldn't handle it. Like, just on something as simple as the read option, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
um, Miles Sanders, like Jalen Hurts, just has to make two decisions. Either there's a hole that's big enough that he can just give it to Miles Sanders to go up the middle for, 6 or 7 yards plus, or the guy on the edge bites too quickly on Miles Sanders and gives up the edge, and
Mm-hmm.
he just takes off right past him. And then he can get 10 or 20 yards. Like Jalen Hurts ran for 157 yards,
Yeah.
right? Like it's so tough to do that, especially when their offense is just like taking ends from one side but they're blocking over on the other side, and it's just really tough to contain. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And it all
and our
starts with
defense
the
just did a bad job of it at the end of the day.
and it all starts with the offensive line. Like you said, led by Kelsey and is it Lane Johnson? And I think the Niners' offensive line is really good, but honestly, I think the Eagles might have a better offensive line, which is actually really scary. And they're kind
Yeah.
of bullying people down there in the trenches, and it's showing. Like you said, it's leaving these big holes for Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball so well this year. So if you try to, cover AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, he's just gonna run it.
Mhm.
So then that's what happened. He had that huge run, and yeah, so They're definitely a tough team to stop on offense. I will say though, the Packers, in my opinion, kind of showed the Eagles' defense isn't that good. Do you think that was the case, or was that just the Packers lighting it up?
No, I think so. I mean, I've never really been that big of a Jordan Love fan, but then he comes in at the end of the game, throws 6 of 9 for 113 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? Like for all intents and purposes should not have happened. He looked really comfortable out there,
Mm.
right? Which, if it was a good defense, he would not have looked that comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So,
yeah, I don't know. I think again, just like the Titans game, these are just two losses that obviously suck because the Packers fans are not used to being 4-8 just
yeah.
ever.
Wow.
And and so, it obviously sucks for that reason, but we're running the ball, we're putting up a bunch of points. Like maybe we can end out this season pretty well. I mean, the rest of our schedule is still a little tough. But I mean, well, what we have 4 games left or 5 games left. Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions. So we got 3 division games.
Wow.
And I'm not too scared about the Rams. Dolphins are going to be really tough, and of course, and yeah, I mean, uh, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions can all put up 30 points,
Right,
right? Like
right.
they've done
Yeah.
it multiple times this season.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just going to be a bunch of like coin flip games down the road.
Yeah.
So. It's gonna, and then of course Aaron Rodgers gets this oblique injury. Apparently, has been only playing with one hand, this no thumbs this whole time, and yeah, who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on though to happiest and saddest fan bases. Who do you got as your happiest fan base?
The happiest fan base, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they're not happy that the Packers lost to the Eagles, but I think the Cowboys feel pretty confident in their team. They've got CD Lamb going pretty strong. Zeke and Pollard are killing it. Dak seems like he's doing good. Micah Parsons and that whole defense is looking pretty scary. I feel like they think they could beat any team in the NFL. And I'm actually kind of a little bit worried about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, well, that entire NFC East division is just looking so hot, right?
They're all in the
So that
playoffs right now, which is insane.
yeah, just insane. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah. Especially if you look at them 2 years ago and none of them had a winning record. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on in the NFC East? You're so nuts. So nuts. Um, I'm gonna say happiest fan base after last week's got to be the Dolphins, man. Just go into Houston, drop 30 points in the first half, sit Tua for the second half, and just go on to see the Niners next week. Like, their division two is kind of rocky, right? They're all like, I mean, the Bills are really strong. The Jets are looking like they might have turned a corner with Mike White.
hmm
Patriots are the Patriots, but like they have a real shot to end up in the postseason for sure, especially if they're going to play like that. Like I don't care what defense you're going against, even if it is the terrible Houston Texans, right? Dropping 30 points in the first half is no joke.
That's something special there, and I am a
Yeah.
little worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then on the flip side, what is your saddest fan base?
The saddest fan base, absolutely, with no hesitation, has to be the Denver Broncos. They literally just they got bamboozled in this trade for Russell
Yeah.
Wilson. Now the Seahawks have the third overall pick right now, and the Broncos are stuck with Mr. Limited. Like, man, this fool, they cannot score any points, and it's crazy. It's actually insane. They felt like they needed a quarterback, so they signed one to a huge extension, and he's playing like this. I would not be happy if I
Yeah.
was a Broncos fan. Not at
But
all.
even their defense too, which was supposed to be sort of stacked. Like I understand that when the defense is out there for the entire game, like they're not gonna, uh, be able to hold them that long. But 23 points from the Panthers, who have literally nobody.
hmm
Like where you at? Where you at, Denver
Yeah.
defense?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what a turn of events for that team. They sold the farm and now they have nothing. Sold it for pennies.
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna say the saddest fan base, or that, yeah, saddest fan base. Yeah, I think you're probably right with that, but I'm gonna say a runner-up is probably the Colts. what is the direction of the Colts right now? The rest of this season is kind of a wash. You're going to have a different starting quarterback and a different head coach next year, and uh, yeah, what are they even
Yeah,
thankful for this last
yeah,
week? They lost to the freaking Steelers in like one of the weirdest games, and and even like their like this future wide receiver Alex Pierce that we really were all interested in. He got 2 receptions last game, didn't even do very hot. So I don't know, man. Like, what are they hanging their hat on? Are they
yeah.
even going to watch the rest of the season?
They're basically hanging their hat on Pat McAfee and the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
basically all they have left at this
Just
point.
watching old highlights.
Yeah, so we'll see how they go. It is interesting to see Jeff Saturday and see what ends up happening by the end of the season. But yeah, the Colts really don't have anything going. Poor Matt Ryan is fighting for his life with no help blocking.
Oh, I know.
It's pretty sad.
It's pretty tough for them. Well, that's where we will end it this week on the Pac 9 recap show. Uh, be ready. Be ready
Hmm.
because there's going to be 2 other shows that have come out
Yes, sir.
immediately alongside this one. So be prepared. You might want to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss them.
Yep. Do it. Do
we
it.
will. We will see you next time.
All right. See ya.